All right, here we go again. Buckle up, rough roads ahead. So, what happened was, it seems like it's playing normally. It may have been just a head curse. Well, we do that whenever anybody listens, and now you can hear it normally. You won't know we're doing it. Who knows? I really don't care. Again, as long as I say it on the planet, then I've ruled it. Again, I don't rule. God rules, but God rules through me because I have a status on this planet. The system's upside down. It won't pay the people it owes. Right? Actually, the people that have billions of dollars are not owed anything. A lot of them are low grade. Right? So I think they weighed the option that I would actually record the whole thing all over again. Thank you, Larry. Thank you. So again, I'm an old salt at this point. I'm a big veteran. A lot, not most, but a lot of my work was done after I got out of the government. I helped the government through several wars. Metaphysically, physically, and psychologically. 100%, Larry. I'm actually owed probably millions for my post-government work. Not actually, definitely. So again, you may not want us to send money to Peru for alpaca farming, but I'm sure DEA is part of that. I'm sure State Department. It's calculated that if we could make it difficult for the narcos to operate in Peru, and we provide an alternative income for the people, we could possibly move that away so we don't have to babysit it for the next 7 centuries. Thank you, Larry. But again, God got you. You're revealing your ignorance, all of you. Alpaca farming is very important in Peru, so we don't turn out people that look like Elon in some of those videos that they're showing us, where he like spaces out into the sky. Again, be careful what you're all saying. And more importantly, be careful what you're all doing. Thank you, Larry. They're just snot-nosed kids, man. They have no idea what they're doing. And until somebody that's been in the government, that's been a proven honest person, says there was no way to track payments, then you're not going to convince me. Right. Well, it could have been some cross-reference or something. Right. No, I believe there's corruption. I believe they stole money, but I think everybody steals money. I don't think, you know, it's limited to one party or another. So it is what it is. I'm going to try to walk around the perimeter here and see if that works any better. Say hi to the various people I see. So yeah, it sounded like that's what it was sounding like, and then it reverted back to being well. Maybe they're mad because they want, they make me sound stupid because I say I don't care what it sounds like as long as I say it right. Thank you, Larry. Nice day, huh? Nice weather. So yeah, you gotta be personable. Wait, it's nice back here. Green thumb lady. How you doing? Beautiful weather, huh?
Yes.
Wait, it's nice back here. It's weird because I'm in. There's still certain nasty people that shoot me nasty looks. That's like where I live. They probably only hired my neighbors, you know. Right. It seems like I'm in more in the community. So my one set of hearing aids, they don't charge right. So if I don't, if I'm not watching them real close, they'll. I wonder if the prices on Cybertrucks have dropped because like, there's more of them turning up, and they're not selling them, right? I guess it's trickling down to everyday vehicles in my community here. And I really didn't see that many. I mean, I've like seen one. Now I've seen like a ton, right? And people used to put them away for collectors' vehicles. Now, like, yeah, get this thing out of my garage, sell it to the poor people. Well, it's relative, you know. If you're a multimillionaire, a millionaire is poor. Right? Now, what they did to me is just there's no way that anybody can mistake it for a legitimate program, right? Thanks, Larry. Well, it's patterned after CIA techniques to cause another government to make mistakes that they bring down, right? Or corporation or whatever. But again, they're using it against one person for self-dealing personal reasons, and it shouldn't even be there. Right? Yeah, okay. I believe they can heal the majority of the transgender cases, if not all of them, and they could live a life of birth gender. But I think it's a very intricate process, and I believe it's something in endocrinology, and it could be chemicals in the brain too. I don't know. Again, I've never done the study. I could say I'm not a doctor, which I'm not, but I haven't done the study. I think that's the only reason. I haven't figured it out. I've asked you to do the study. Thank you, Larry. Yeah, they took down my health and knew what they were doing. Only because they do it to other people. Yeah, it's no brilliant psychological program attempting to find what crime I committed. It's nonsense. It's disgusting, piggish. It's devilish. It's criminal. People running the program have criminal intention. Therefore, the whole program is criminal. Because Warren Buffett's getting in the act. Doesn't want it. So he's stepping out. So somebody. But he's also speaking out. He's just anti-tariff. And again, you know, if we can't sell any American cars and all the Chinese cars are trickling in the United States, yeah, to a certain degree, you should do something. But again, that's targeted and limited. Right? Because again, we need some Chinese stuff. There's just no doubt. If we don't have Chinese stuff coming in, then we can't afford nothing. Right. Now, people in government and law enforcement, these PIs, they're just too. They got no empathy anymore. I mean, none at all. They really don't care who they harm as long as they self deal and self promote. Right. I mean, even at this point, it's like just because they're whacked in the head, they'll do somebody, even if it's at their own detriment, the world detriment, the national detriment. Again, I'm going to rule. That's it. I've stepped away from ruling for a while. I'm just going to rule, and that's the way it is. They thought it was funny that wasn't going to do anything when they attacked me. Yeah, we finally scored. We got where we wanted it. told you that's what they want. So all this bullshit where I shouldn't say anything is all bullshit. Right? Bunch of criminals saying I shouldn't say anything about their crimes while they commit crimes against me. Every last one of those people that are part of it are criminals, man. They know the scam. Whether a cop or a PI, whoever, a doctor, a nurse, a church member, a preacher. And it's the type of criminal that you can't get forgiven in Scripture. And this is what they hate so bad, but it's the truth because they're all in churches saying how they're protecting the world with these programs, right? And other religions. It's bullshit. It's a psyop to cause people to fall. An actual psyop in government, outside of government, to cause people to fall. And they're going to heaven because their lives are so perfect. I mean, the people yesterday were nice. When I walked into that house, I was disgusted. Like I worked my life so hard. I was going to buy a house similar to this. Couldn't get there because they blocked it. But again, God tells me it wasn't you, it's me. I hate this. I hate their houses. Again, those aren't bad people. Right? Again, I told you, God is different than me. God is different than Jesus. I mean, it was a nice house. It was nice that they had me over. But again, the wealth of this planet is disgusting and filth. Well, what they do is they create a system where there's poor people. And then say, oh, but we're nice. We give charity to the poor people. So we get to live $1 million life or a multi-million-dollar life or $1 billion life. That's how they did it. So again, when God's on the receiving end of the information, that's what God receives. Because again, there's powers on the planet. Communication is shoddy. But, if you have money, you could say, hey, God, we're helping people. And no, they're not. They're keeping that same corrupt system going. So when I woke up, the real information started flowing to God, and that's when you saw the planet kind of go up for a little bit and then crash. Right. I mean, like, we're poised for the worst economy in 2008. We really are. The only thing for the signs are that there's definitely going to be less government payroll in a few months, whenever that date comes. Right. So there's going to be less government payroll, and there's going to be there's probably going to be less home purchasing. What's going to happen is there's going to be more foreclosure, I guess. There's going to be less volatility, not volatility. There's going to be less demand for housing, for like home ownership. Right. You all knew what was going on. You all know what's going on. You know people are being executed. You're all very sick. And it's not the pedophiles. That scam's been gone for a long time. So the LDS Church, there is somebody, again, people communicate in a certain way. He wasn't out about it, but somebody communicated something is going on. And I don't know how long. Like, if you're an LDS person and you're in a Baptist community, they'll deep state you. Right. Right. Thanks, Larry. That's why it's smart to have them all together somewhere. Right. Because, like, in Africa, they'll come out and shoot you in some of those places. But here in the United States, they'll just, they'll use deep state to kill you. They're saying they're sorry, but again, empty words. Correct. It's a scam that they use. They say they're sorry and then they get back up. Killing my hearing was going down on and off over the last so many years because of them. They just wouldn't let my. In other words, the massage, I nailed it. Like, I had a discussion with a spirit. They said, you nailed it when you got the massages, 2 hour massage twice, 3 times a month. You just stayed healthy for life. They knew it. They killed it. They'll go to hell for it. Well, I must have been talking to God then. So God sends the healing. I even let them know it's God. God sent me this so that I would heal. I couldn't do this without God. Right? And then they killed it. They're devils, man. And they'll go to hell. And that lasts a lot longer than one lifetime. I'm going to go to hell because I'm judging. I'm not judging. I'm explaining it to you. The scriptures are there. They're plain as day, even if your churches lie about it. It's actually saying in the apartment complex that I live in that isn't that big, but of the people in here, there's only a few people that are going to be judged. The rest have passed. See? When you destroyed my life, you assured that I'd never be judged because my life would never come up to at anything or get to anything ever again. And they sell you into bondage, man. They bring what do they call those dominant uh, sexual gay people around you to abuse you, to try to force you to sex while they're torturing you, putting you out on massage and everything. 100%. That's the government, man. But the techies are part of it also. I realized that in the '90s, the techies in the government, the agents go and they work with the techies. What they do, an unholy agreement, unholy alliances. They're antichrists. So the techies are part. So the techies come in and say how they're going to do this to the government. They're part of the government, right? Being part of the government for years, right? And they've been blackmailing and extorting for years. I mean, I don't know these young techies now, but again, they don't have a clue. So right now they're wheeling me inside. See, that's what they didn't want. They didn't want me to go out walking again, right? So that's why they cleared up that audio. What? Keep projecting. I'm not here, Larry. I'm not there, Larry. I don't care where you are. If you're part of it, you're going to hell. Because the cell here can't operate with the cell over there without the cell in another state and in another community. Again, the fusion centers were created for the purpose of propagating the deep state into every state in the Union and having somebody that can be called in an instant to psychologically torture a victim in the United States. They are Pinochet. They are Nazis. And if they do some good work, it doesn't make the other work okay. They sit back and laugh while they stalk people in these watch societies in the various in the various societies. Meanwhile, the real criminals got cash. They're greasing everybody's palm. I mean, they just couldn't even let me live a poor man's life. They're that disgusting, that piggish, that demonic. They say, "Oh, we protected his family from him." This is what they say. You pat themselves on the back. We saved that family. Who are you murdering? You're murdering the people you murder. And I'm sure in there somewhere are real pedophiles, simply so you can launch that scam out there. But in fact, you're all real pedophiles, and I proved how that psychology fits the majority of your people. And that's what they use to trigger you into doing what you're all doing. And when they want, here's another part of it. When they want them, when they think maybe they're losing their hold on these people, then they bust one cop for pedophilia or something like that. And then they all freak out and they do it all over again. You don't take me, take someone else. I'll even create a few for you. This is really who they are. The rest is a fucking illusion. The whole planet is what I say it is. There's nobody with money that's anybody decent. But they own everything, including the religions and NGOs for the charity rich scams, get rich quick scams. You see these people, you should spit on them. You should spit right in their face and laugh at them and tell them they're going to hell. These are the devils that ruined your planet, that ruined your generation, that bring you drug dealing, that bring you sex trafficking and come along and arrest 2 or 3 and go, oh, aren't we great? Worship us. We protect all of you. So the Fusion Center thought it would be funny to put people into a church that I'm trying to attend, and they know the deal. He doesn't get to stay. Harass everybody until he's pushed out. That's what your Fusion Center does. You want to know who comes into your church and harasses you? The Fusion Center. That's who they are. That's why when you look at who they select for the Fusion Center, it doesn't make any sense. Why would they select these people? These are crooked, corrupt, do-nothing slugs. Because it's a criminal operation, man. It's a criminal enterprise. Give us some money and we'll launch the Fusion Center at your business competition. Elon Musk didn't just get money, man. They destroyed anybody that tried to compete against them. It's only recently that they stopped that. Right? That's how they're doing it. These aren't brainiacs, man. I mean, just look at that. Oh, we're going to get rid of who needs alpaca farming in Peru? The DEA. Because when you're trying to make it difficult for coca growing, there has to be something in Peru to take its place and entice the people. But big balls actually doesn't mean big balls. He just threw it out there. Right, Greg Gutfeld. Right, he just threw it out. I mean, no, it's offensive to say here big balls, but it doesn't mean anything. It's just big balls. You get it? Pure propaganda. Don't insult my intelligence, Gutfeld. Freak. Thank you, Larry. I would have rather not to read it, but God wanted me to read it. That's why God put it before me. No, change yourselves back to who you're supposed to be. We're not going to laugh it off. Trying to resurrect. Well, we took Elon, but now we got these guys. They're serving their country. They're heroes. Fox News is part of the deep state. Right. Always has been. And they come out like they're fighting the deep state. They try to convince us some guy with the name Big Balls really isn't Big Balls. They got to try to convince us that alpaca farming in Peru is somehow offensive when the DEA needs alpaca farming in Peru so they don't grow coca. So when you pressure people not to grow coca, you need an outlet for that. You need something where they can do something beneficial instead of growing drugs. So the government people that Elon Musk puts in are so ignorant. First, they tell us they're serving their country. A bunch of rich people doing drugs, serving their country. Laughing at things that are very important to our nation and our program to eradicate narcotics. Well, nobody in the DEA is going to tell you that because they don't want to lose their job. Correct. We agree, Larry. But again, you don't care because you take money from drug dealers and use drugs. I mean, it's like a grifter illusion. Oh, his name's Big Balls, but it really doesn't mean Big Balls. He did it because he was against the establishment, and he's freeing all of us. He'll be another billionaire, I'm sure. Right. Just like the other ones that ruined this country, he'll be a billionaire, suck off the tit of this nation, and tell us that he's so important to us. I think Tesla's done, quite frankly. I don't think anybody will let it up. I tried to tell you to stop. Right. Agreed. No, I agree. Again, what you're doing is you're missing. You're pointing at. It's just like I just said. It's the same scam. They point at a pedophile that they may have caused to commit suicide, and then they say everybody's that. You may have taken some programs that needed to get taken out, and even if it was an intelligence payment, it shouldn't have been that program, right? But it's not all that. Such as a pack of forming in Peru. Thanks, sorry. Well, we're supposedly believe that they're the genius government people, and everybody else who's there before them are just idiots trying to steal from us. Meanwhile, they're living on the government tit, like sleeping in government buildings. Right. Correct. Sorry, Larry. I'm sorry. And I used to be a guy who'd go in at like 5. I leave my house at like 5:30 a.m. I didn't have to be in work till 8:30. Go in, was there. Sometimes I would work out. Sometimes they'd say, "Hey, I need you to do something." Right. So I'd go to work early. Right. Somebody calling sick, they say, "Hey, I need you to do something that this person was going to do." So one time I decided, somebody said, "Hey, just live in the the courthouse until you get settled and get a place to live. So don't worry about it because I was going through a nasty divorce and the lawyer played a trick and I had to get out of there quick, get out of the house I was living in. There was nothing to it, but again, when you're in law enforcement, and my wife is like an idiot for doing it, but you can't have a domestic violence thing, so she tries to allege some shit, right? And it's bullshit, right? She was very abusive. She took knives after me. I mean, it was horrible. I don't even know why. I guess I stayed because I just was asleep, and her will was for me to stay while she tortured me. Right? Oh, you're saying your wife tortured me? Yes. And I got her out of it, and you put her back into it. See, that's how it happened. I didn't know that at the time. And she even said they were there. And I'm just thinking she's crazy. All you had to do was stay away from me, all of you. That's all you had to do, and you couldn't do it. There was no laws. You stay away from me, my life picks up, I go focus on that part of my life. Correct. But, Trump doesn't know what they're doing really. Just again, they present report, they're in a closed loop world, but eventually it's going to come crashing down. You have to get back to reality. Agreed, Larry. Okay, so how long did it work? At the most a year? It probably didn't work for a year. Probably about 6 months. You really picked up steam about that. And what did you do in the last 6 months? You reached out to all these other communities that you weren't reaching out to. Hmm. Not just that Biden was that bad. But you're the incumbent now. It doesn't work the same way. Well, again, present your case. You're deporting all these people by them not coming into the United States. Therefore, go back to normal or somewhat normal deportation operations. Right. You have to let the other agencies and police do their everyday work, or we're going to have trouble there. At a certain point, you have to release a lot of people back to their normal work, unless you can verify that narcotics distribution and sex trafficking is decreasing because you're decreasing the unlawful immigrant presence. Thank you, Larry. Well, because it's BS. There's no reason to take baristas and deport them. There's no reason to deport warehouse workers. There's just no reason. What those people did was come here and get us out of inflation that we were in. And now this is how you repay them? Thanks, Larry. No, we needed them. We had too many leave the United States. It doesn't work without the immigrant labor, just same way it doesn't work without some Chinese goods. Correct. And again, people in the United States want to price gouge. So you're like supporting price gouging. 100%. Again, we're gonna have price gouging. I'm gonna be told we have to suck it up because we're all gonna be rich. I'm serious. I mean, this is getting really ridiculous. Thanks, Larry. Well, why did they come in my apartment? Because somebody paid. Don't let them flip the series of events. Right. Thanks, Larry. That's what they do. Right. I responded to what they did. They didn't respond to something I was doing. Right. I think I did somewhere along the way, but I kind of spaced it out. So what happened is my cranial tissues got crushed because I thought it was because the doctor was saying it was a sinus infection when it wasn't. It was cranial tissues getting tight. And again, they're cursing me, so that's the way that it happens. And again, I beat it when I went and was getting 2 hours massage a day, or 2 hours massage twice a month. No, God will take care of it. Believe me. I don't have to do it anyway, because I'm one of the nation builders. 100%. Thanks, Larry. Now they're devils. Every last one is a devil. There's only so many ways to place intelligence eyes and ears. And you've all kind of decimated the network to do that. Thank you, sir. So again, anybody that's trimming government budget at the level of Doge should understand what alpaca farming in Peru is for. Well, because over the last 40 years, unless you want to use cocaine, I'm sure then you don't want the alpaca farming. But over the last, actually maybe even more than that, like 25, 35, 45, at least 45, 50 years, probably 50 years, it was realized that if you had this golden crop, such as cocoa, you needed to provide some level of alternative. Now, alpaca farming isn't as lucrative, but the combination of deterrence and enticing via funding and that type of thing, right? It's kind of like making that a worthwhile crop or a worthwhile endeavor. You can have the military breathing down your throats and the police breathing down your throats, or you can get some funding and you find yourself a herd of alpaca instead of coca. So again, we don't know how many other programs like that are being cut, where they don't even have a clue what it's used for. They just think it's stupid. I mean, it's like a kid because they are kids. It's like a kid wouldn't be able to figure that out. Be laughing because they got rid of it. Aren't I wonderful? No, Elon's ignorant himself. Elon's actually an ignorant person, believe it or not. Right. And he's a wealthy person. He's done well for himself, but I'm sure he's had his backers. Right. And like I said, what's that guy's name? Kind of hiding here. Billionaire, Obama, billionaire from Oracle. He admitted inside that you're right. We'd be nobody without the systems that took us up. Now, what that same system is showing you is how fast they can deplete Elon's money. Again, he did make a jump to a political machine that was paying him back. I even say, without that machine, Elon doesn't do very well. Again, I'm just telling you, until he admits that those systems exist, I'm going to have to keep saying this. Once he admits to it, then I probably won't talk about it. Right. Self-made billionaires don't exist. Right. And the idea that you don't have a clue. That's why I told you to get advisors. They help you understand what everything was. Thanks, Larry. Thank you, Larry. Well, it's plain as day that we're alpaca farming in Peru because we're trying to eradicate cocaine. Right. It's obvious that big balls is what we see. Like they're trying to make it this anti-establishment hero that he named himself Big Balls because conservatives are like big balls. Your big man is big balls. I mean, these are church people, going big balls. That's our man. But it shows you they don't know anything. They're playing a game and it's a propaganda system. Right. Thank you, Larry. Well, it proves that they are who they say they are. I mean, the years that they've lived on the planet is pretty much revealed in what they don't know. So no, there is no hidden intelligence in the Doge operation. Correct. Because that's what they're there's this system and we got this AI and AI tells. I told you that if you don't have the information to put into AI, AI is not going to figure it out. Right. Well, because there's nothing to tell that. I don't know. Maybe AI could figure that out. I don't know. Did you ask AI? All right, let's ask AI why we would alpaca farm in, in Peru. Well, that's what generally happens. Narcotics will destroy. And again, if you smoke pot, you smoke marijuana. That's not what I'm talking about. We're going cocaine, heroin, right? Mescaline, psilocybin mushrooms, that kind of stuff. Again, marijuana needs to be smoked in moderation, right? Especially mostly it's the potency that exists today. Right? It's like scientific farming. Thank you, Larry, for everything you're doing for us. Thank you. Thank you, sir, for everything you're doing. All right, so let's ask Grok. We'll do Grok 3 here. Ask Grok anything. Grok, why would the U.S. government be interested in alpaca farming and financing alpaca farming in Peru? Okay, it does have the root cause of migration there too, but I don't think Peru is one of those nations so much. Foreign aid and soft power, it speaks about that. I don't see narcotics, so I'll have to ask Grok directly. Oh my gosh. Well, that's what a lot of those payments are soft power payments. Well, I mean, look, the world doesn't give a shit about Donald Trump right now. It's getting worse and worse. Why? Because you got to pay to get your soft power on, right? I mean, you all thought government was just this something that it's not. Again, there was fraud, waste, and abuse, but like I said, not at the level that you're all speaking about. All right, so here we go. Grok, would financing alpaca farming in Peru help reduce coca farming? Okay, yeah. Financing alpaca farming in Peru could help reduce coca farming, but the impact depends on execution. Again, execution, military, law enforcement, economic incentives, and addressing root causes of coca cultivation. Right. So when I asked Grok directly, Grok, right, it could be like Elon's mind answering this. You hold him back because it's anti-narcotics. Yeah, but it says no. See, they're not. They don't do that, and avoid heavy-handed eradication. It sounds like Elon's answering this. Avoid heavy-handed eradication policies that alienate communities. Well, it's. I think it's both. It's carrot and the stick, right? So they give them alternative. Just go to and take some money and get yourselves a bunch of alpacas, right? And they won't be breathing down your neck. Right? Correct, Larry. So again, it's that type of thing is root cause. So what happens is even though you're doing better than the Biden administration at blocking people from coming to the nation, which means you're doing better at deportation because now you can get somewhere. If Biden is deporting 2,000 for a given time period and there's 10,000 coming in, we're not getting anywhere. If you deport five and there's only 10 coming in, obviously, right, you're getting somewhere. Right. Thank you. Well, I guess maybe they should have asked AI, why were we alpaca farming in Peru? Again, there's still the Shining Path gorillas down there. So. Well, we have interests around the globe and operations around the globe that nobody talks about. So the Shining Path may be in, messing with our whatever operations we're trying to. Again, the real key to intelligence is to produce nations, successful nations that are independent of needing something. Right. Being self-sustained. Again, some of it the soft power, and they want them to be somewhat, you know, somewhat requiring of us. But again, if you put the right government in it, it shouldn't be a problem. Right? And then you got to monitor it. You can't let it fall. Right. So there is reasons to alpaca farm in Peru. But again, that's just one example that you all don't know what you're doing. Thanks, Larry. But this is the point, and it's so weird how they play all of you. The Trump organization was the originator, one of the original, I think maybe the originator of root causes of immigration. We were working on root causes of immigration. I told you to. I told you that we need to, build up those nations so there's less of an incentive to come here. So it's again the idea of the carrot and the stick, right? I agree, Larry. Oh my God. My cranial tissues have been getting tighter over the years. I never, again, it probably happened just right after they started, blocked me from the massage. And I couldn't figure it out. I thought they were just like sinus infections, ear infections, or something. So again, they knew what they were doing. Very sick. No, they're creating pedophiles. They're creating rapists. They're creating murderers. They're sickos. Thank you, Larry. Well, we what we got to do. Okay, this is what you got to do because it's gonna come out at a certain point. You need to get a handle on what we're spending. Again, you're using various budgets, but you need to look into what you're spending on all of it, like the deportations. I know it's whatever, but right, we got to like right now you don't know. Okay, right, so you got to know so you can be ready with that information, and quite frankly, maybe you're saving a lot of money. I don't know. Well, you don't have to carry all of the military operational expense because the military, the pay, the military vehicles, and all that stuff, it costs money anyway. So what you got to do is you got to calculate what you're spending extra, like fuel. Right. Well, because the military does stupid stuff like, and the government does stupid stuff like the military goes and trains in a training center, and then they pay all this money for that operation, but there's no like real world thing going on. Correct. What do I suggest? What you're doing again? Your idea is that you're now actually train. You have to, and you might want to bring this out. Your border operations are for a form of training, and it's actually more of a real world training. So now your military people are on the ground and they're training in a real world environment. Obviously they're not shooting people at this point, at least, right? But it's not like, oh, let's go to the National Training Center and run around with, I guess to a certain degree, because they're using that, what do they call that stuff? The gear that I forget what it is, but your vehicle has generally used to be, I don't know what it is now. Maybe now it's like more electronic. I don't know, but your vehicle would have a light on it. They put like an amber light on your vehicle, and they attach it to a bunch of sensors, and the opposing force would shoot at you with like an electronic beam, and if it hit your sensors, then you were dead, or whatever calculates whether you're dead. So then when when your vehicle light would light up with like an amber light, I think it was flashing. I can't remember. And when that would happen, then your vehicle was dead. You couldn't drive it. Right? So it's kind of a war game. I don't know. Maybe it's on the phone now. Or it goes, oh no, we're dead. I imagine they still have the lights and stuff. I guess I don't know. Right. So that's a different type of training, but it's still not as valid as this idea that they're interacting with people, they're patrolling on a real world mission, right? Which again, the military today, there's a lot of people with that kind of experience. Right? So there's a portion of the budget for the deportation operations using military forces that's non-chargeable to the operation. So you have to figure out what does it cost you yearly without the operation to operate, and then what does it cost you with the operation, or monthly, I guess. Right. So they're all mad at me. All right. This is not political. Thank you, Larry. We agree, sir. Gosh, I'm hungry. Yeah, I realized I drank a lot of salt last night. I didn't realize, or I ate a lot of salt, and I drank the hydration drink. So I was like, all night I was like going, urinating. It was crazy. I was afraid. I was like, oh shit, I'm in that danger zone probably. But slowly I worked out of it. Body regroup. Oh my god. The reality of it is, the doctor told me to reduce my sodium, and that's when that shit happened in Naples. That may have been what caused me to get sick, right? Because you don't have as much water retention, right? So again, a lot of our blanket theories don't work for everybody, right? Oh my god. And that's when my disc had just started having an issue. Right? Well, I took all the antibiotic probably for nothing. Oh my god, right? Bad for the body. I may have actually been part of what tightened me up. Nobody knows the full effects of antibiotics. So again, they keep cursing. something like that happens. Well, again, either I yell at you now, or people bring this out in the news, a CBS expose or something like that. So again, I need to yell at you now and embarrass you, and you need to figure out a better operation, right? While I was sick, you lost all that time of me telling you what to do and what not to do, right? Thank you, Lawrence. Now, what will happen right now? Again, I'm going to give it away, so it's probably not going to happen, but it won't be viable. But what I would do normally is I would test to see, you know, if somebody came after Elon at this point. Like, do I see me being radicalized against Elon? So, like, what is it? It's like an internet presence. Is it actually targeting me, or is it targeting Elon, or both of us? Right. Oh my God. Yeah, extension of what I've been talking about. Well, because I did detect it was trying to radicalize me against Elon at times. Right. Oh, I'm right about what I'm saying, but some of this, the way I say it, I do it to see how the internet reacts, and then how the local operators react also. Okay, cool. Is there an intelligence, AI or otherwise, presence that look to find people to radicalize against certain people? Oh, part of people hating on Elon and Tesla is a psyop. It has nothing to do with the people really, on how far they would normally go. Right. I look like that trans guy from, or gal, whatever, from Kansas City, and that strikes me as that person was operating, which means they may have hated on Elon, but would have never gone to the level of destroying a Tesla. Well, no, it's actually good. I'm eating a masala dosa. It could even be the Russians. Well, they want that kind of turmoil, but they also, even if they're friendly to Elon, it's a way to make Elon reach out for them even more, right? Cling on to them even more. Okay. I believe there is that presence that I speak about, and it's operating, radicalizing, and Elon is one of the targets. Now, the question is artificial intelligence? Is it intelligence officers? Or all the above? Right. Or is it some private sector thing? Go orange. Well, the question is, if I start yelling at Elon on a video, a live video online, does the thing pick that up and then try to radicalize me further? Versus if I never say anything, it doesn't do much. Right. I've already said enough where I think it just constantly looks to see if it can radicalize me. Or again, it could be the fusion center trying to radicalize me again. I don't know any. Just keep talking. Although a lot of what I say is true. Right. Thanks, Larry. So that's a way to investigate. Like his security group should create personas and see what happens when they become those personas. Right. Well, it made no sense on Drudge Report where they run Elon to the ground and they have Starlink ads all the time. Now, what's putting him there, I don't know. Right. Well, because people are hating on Elon, and all of a sudden they have to look at a Starlink splash screen before they get to the news article. So what that could do is, again, the same thing. Like, I'm gonna do this, that, or the other thing, and this, like that young guy or gal, whatever. I guess it's gal, but went to the did those Teslas while he was on uh, break from college. Right. 100%. So what may have drove him to it or her to it? Thank you, Larry. Oh my God. No, there's no doubt there's something alienates people against Elon Musk. And the other question is it targeting me along with it? Which means, two birds, one stone. Yes, it's high level intelligence work. I don't even know if our nation does it. Probably should. Right. Oh my God. Thanks, Larry. It makes no sense that they would have the start because essentially the audience is anti Tesla, anti Elon. So why would you waste something on Starlink there? Well, the idea is Elon's following you with Starlink. You need to end him. My masala dosa. You just cursed my masala dosa, you son of a bitches. No, somebody just figured it. Forgive me, Father, because I went undercover 3 months. Thank you. No, I'm not cursing by accident. No, it's private. You have to gin it up to see it because it may not react. Again, what it's looking for is people that are in high drive. Now, Fusion said, "Well, we're doing it because we don't want you to freak out." Bullshit. Thank you, Larry. Now, something's telling me to reveal what I'm doing, right? Because again, you're supposed to do it. You being FBI, security groups, things like that. Okay. Now, what is their operations against the average citizen, or influence operations? Who is it? No, I'm sure of it. No, it could be a political operation, but I think that's part of the scam, right? That's part of the radicalization. Well, Republicans will say it's the Democrats, but it actually could be like the Russians. And they go, well, Russians are friendly to me, right? But they're trying to work you, like they're working Trump and Melania, right? Now, I don't see any react yet. I do not see. I don't think I. No, I don't. I don't think I saw. There was something that happened here, but I think it's just like Satan's stance as far as Teslas. Right. No, because he's never had Teslas around here, and like all of a sudden we have a billion Teslas and Cybertrucks. I don't have a Cybertruck in this development, but we had a couple Teslas that we never happened. And that could have just happened. Well, the thing is, Tesla, Elon's watching you through those cameras. That's what they do. Let me make sure my audio's on. Yeah, it is. I got some masala dosa on my screen. It's high sodium. I can't always eat it. Actually, not that. I buy the healthiest masala dosa. I think it's called Ama's. That's pretty much the healthiest store bought pre cooked. You put it in the microwave or on the griddle. Right. Masala dosa you're going to buy. Everybody else is like 2.5 grams or higher of sat fat. Ama's is 1 gram. And then the sodium is like 250 per dosa, where it's usually like 3 to 5. Sorry. Oh, he took my health a long time ago, man. They're sick. I had no clue that I could have healed 5 years ago, 4 years ago. I mean, now it's probably a little late. I mean, I'm healing somewhat, but Well, it got down to my cranial tissues were the big problem, and again, I had that in 2010, but I couldn't make the connection. Thank you, Lawrence. No, I just needed to be allowed to be in a religious society and have a wife. My whole life would have been different, right? Because your wife can, what again, the team, the wife figures out things, the husband figures out things for the wife figures out things for the husband, right? It's God built that. Not good for man to be alone, but yet you won't force me to be alone, so you go to hell for it, in direct violation of God's command. 100%. But they can't make you gay if you have a woman. That's really where they are. Your Fusion Center and all the others. Correct. Although I think they backed off. I've been baiting them. Correct. They backed off of that particular stuff. Now that's really sad. I should have been in an apartment like this in 2012 or so, which was one of the options. I just never got to Kansas City. I was a lot younger, a lot healthier, right? If I would have come here, I'd have done a bunch of massage. Right. Again, it boggles my mind why I did that. Why did I go to Santa Fe? Why? I guess the environment when the weather was real nice, but Espanol, why would I do that? Why would I take that chance? Again, they willed it. Right. Thank you, Larry. Because they had operators in the Sikhs. Right. Well, because I look at the women, they're younger than me now, but I would have been, within the age of, I've been 48, they'd have been 40, maybe, something like that. Right. So I probably would have found somebody. Right. Thank you, Larry. Right. Yeah. So essentially, it looks like the operations around here have minimized. Thank you, Larry. Thanks, sir. I don't see too much anti-Elon stuff, unless that's what that is, bringing in Cybertrucks and Teslas and everybody angry. Ought to be a law. Thanks, Larry. Right. The idea that you're testing somebody makes no sense when you're torturing and when you're blocking them from the other part of life. Right. You're not testing them, you're forcing something. Right. Thank you, no, I don't see too much going on around here. I got eye cursed by one of the, I don't know, I call her the informant. I don't know if she's an informant. Right. So she definitely was playing it, ginning it up, right? Trying to, eye curse me and try to set me off. But she doesn't have as much power over me anymore. Thank you, Larry. I usually get her anyway. Because like when I'm broadcasting, I'll be like, rah, 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 and then she'll start talking to me. I'm like, I'm not talking about you, and I wasn't. Like they want me to yell at her the same way I'm yelling online. Right. Mary, I'm really sorry. I have no idea. It boggles the mind that they were allowed to do any of it. Again, I've been disabled for 20, 22 years as far as that disability leaving the government, but I've had other disabilities. Right. I was always disabled in the Marshal Service. I had 20% disability going into the Marshal Service. In fact, I was probably the last person that gets what do they call that when they take your job rifted. I would be the last person to be rifted. Loth may have it more than me. I don't know. Loth was Special Forces, Persian Gulf. He had some disability. Correct. You had the rash. Again, a lot of people are too young to remember what happened after the Persian Gulf War. People just started dying that had been over there. My ex-wife swore I had it back then because she saw the rashes and all that stuff. Right. But I didn't have the part where you die. That's what I got now. Get with me, right? Well, it's like my lawyer said, it's not a Persian Gulf War syndrome finding, which it should be, but it's like a fibromyalgia finding or something like that. So I have these muscle issues and tendon unexplained, again, unexplained pain issues, regional pain issues, unexplained, tendonitis and muscle cramping. So again, they should not have been allowed in my life. I'd have just continued on with massages, without any type of disruption, and this would have never manifested to this level. Again, they'll pay in hell. Look, God's not here to hate on me, and that's obvious, right? I mean, they still say it over at this church, and I'm like, well, here it is again. We know that you're somebody who knows and that you're advanced, and we know you have seen the way. No, I knew I was with Joseph Smith. I just couldn't get anywhere, right? Well, we talk. I talk to spirits. Some of them are sometimes it's Joseph Smith. Sometimes it's Munson. Sometimes it's a Jewish rabbi from like the 1800s. Sometimes it's Judah Low. Sometimes it's just a ton of different beings, man. Because I'm supposed to be a billionaire. Like God just still did the operation, even though I didn't have the life to physically do it. So I did it metaphysically and kind of psychologically a little bit. I altered the world, man, for the better. It's just when my intrinsic power went down, the world tanked. That's when all the craziness started. Now, some people are happy because they're millionaires, but again, if you're a millionaire in this world, you could have been a multi-millionaire. Again, somebody like Elon, of course, the system pays him. There's no self-made billionaires. There just isn't. Right. Right. Yeah. Okay. Elon wants me to say, well, isn't me being able to get into that group of people part of me self-making? No, because you would never like me. If Peter Thiel wanted to meet me, he'd never meet me because they'd make sure he wouldn't. As soon as he tried, he'd get the blip not to. You see, because it's like CIA level blip. Or that level, mean foreign intelligence. So when I say CIA level, it doesn't mean that it's CIA necessarily. It's just that level of C, that level of projection, right, and capability of operation. Well, God sent you the help, and you killed the help, all of you. And again, that was like the best cost-effective help in the world. All you had to do is just let my retirement happen naturally, and I've been able to get places to do what I needed to do. Right. I still did a lot of it. It's mostly metaphysical. And there are people in the government that know my stuff. Right. You have to have like a high clearance to listen to me, but right. Well, that's probably the only reason we're not like, I'm going to make a joke. No, look, they'll say I'm hating on Trump. Well, Trump deserves it until he gets normal again. He's like whacked. He's hanging out with Stephen Miller too much. Get Stephen Miller out of there. No, I was asking who is it that's influencing Trump like this? And then I noticed that Stephen Miller and Trump are saying the same shit. Thanks, Larry. XVIVIX. I don't know why a vehicle's parked there. Maybe it's to make me afraid of it. I'm afraid of that. Thank you, Larry. Well, again, there's an afterlife, and some of you will be in hell, and God will say, why did you do that to him? I sent him, and you knew I sent him to help everyone. You just didn't want others to have. So now you're in hell here until we think you've paid enough. It's really what's going to be for some of these people. I mean, like I tried to tell him, just killing my life alone could send you to hell. Kind of black Corvette's laughing at me. Do they know I exist? Do people know I exist? Well, it's like thumbs up. Everybody hated it because Trump was doing it. It was my thing. I started doing it like 2005, and Trump stole it somehow. I think the spies get them to do it. Right. Thank you, Orange. So that way they'll hate on me because they think I'm doing Trump's thing. Right. And I did thumbs up from 2004, possibly even. Oh my God. And I did, what was the other thing? Of course, Truth is Mine. Right. So Satan will go, well, maybe you should have never revealed that, Raziel Ragael. Blah. Maybe God's mad that you revealed that. I said, no. If my life would have gone the direction it was supposed to go, that would have, been used for something else. Right. And was, actually. I use thumbs up to heal a lot of people. That's healing, actually. That's a form of healing also. What you're doing is you're increasing the intrinsic power of the being, and then the power can go up above, possession of the mind, maybe figure out what doctor to go to get healed. Right. That kind of thing. Even a doctor picks up the doctor's vision and he can heal all the people. Thank you there. No, I'm not like aimlessly walking, but I am. I'm losing. I got to lose weight. I can't sit in that apartment. Well, what am I going to do? I can't ride a bicycle now. I'm too screwed up. I used to ride bicycles for like 8 hours. Thank you, Larry. I get on a bicycle in the morning and I take a whole day just riding places. I had no idea what they thought they were doing. They should have stayed away from me. I still believe that whole thing with Blue Cross Blue Shield in Seminole County and Lake Mary was a setup where they wouldn't pay. Right. Okay, so here's this Tesla here. There was another Tesla, but the other Tesla seems to be gone. Right, so one Tesla's not too many, right? Let's get an older model, I guess. I don't know. I don't really. I think Teslas are ugly, actually. All right. I'd rather buy. This guy's got a black Flex over here. I'd rather have his black Flex. All right. Thank you, Larry. Well, I figured out the key is to get my right side to relax even more, and it's starting to do that a little bit. So hopefully it's some relief. Well, because I need what it does is it causes my legs to be more level, my hips to be level. So this thing's been happening probably since 2010 or before, and it just was kind of not fully formed, and just can't believe they got me like this. I had no clue that they were blocking me from healthcare. I guess I had kind of a clue. I couldn't get to massage. I just couldn't get to it. I guess I didn't know it was them, right? They were stalking me online. So when I Google massage to figure out where to go, they were blocking me by willing me down. You gave them that kind of way on this planet. Again, that's another reason for people on the planet to go to hell. Like who gave such? That's like God's power, right? You gave like nobodies and wackos power to possess people that are actually people that are doing the work on the planet. I mean, they're just sick, man. They're all just sick people, and they're devils, they're demons, and antichrists, and witches, and sorcerers. See, they're trying to get me to say they're only sick people. No, they're only sick people. They're being moved by hidden entities. Some of them, because they know if they do what the thing hints for them to do online and what they receive in the mind, then they get payment. Right. They become a billionaire and sell electric vehicles. Well, what you should do is you should have personas online that are radical. See, spies have a higher litmus test before they will start operating you. They got to make sure you're real because they know there's what are they called sting operations. Right. And again, that includes foreign spies, private sector spies, right, and their AI. Right. So if you radicalize, so you'd have to be like the deep undercover. But again, because we live in this world, like you could ask Grok, so, like you can make a fake persona. I guess you have your own AI, right? You can make a fake persona and ask the AI, is that a real person? AI might say, well, that person only began life at this point, or usually people have this in their life at that point, and this person doesn't have that. So that's how they would detect whether it was a fake persona or not. So like you may create a real persona and go back 30 years but the pattern of life looks, something would be off in like the credit reporting or something, right? So you would have to create a persona that made sense. And I think part of it, like me coming out of the government, they didn't believe it. They're like, "Oh, this guy's undercover." I think that was part of it, right? And against the spies, the spies were trying to kill me. Wanted people that used drugs and were criminals to believe that I'm actually investigating them actively. I didn't investigate anybody that didn't end up in my life first, right? 100%. Mm. Just telling you, I just wish you would have left me do my little hobbies and have a peaceful time doing it. I mean, it would have took your community up. I mean, just let me build my ark. I mean, why would you do that to a person trying to build, and then you bring people around in the store to fuck me? I mean, come on. Thanks, Larry. And they try to say shit, well, you're going to influence people with the ark. You're going to groom children with the ark. I'm like, what are you talking about? I never groomed anybody in my life, children or otherwise. You groom people. You've moved women and men to have sex with you. I've never done that. In fact, they moved me to have sex with them. All right. No, I mean, we're sitting here after 30 something years of operation, specific operation from government. They're like 35 years. Just laughing the whole time, getting rich doing it. And they want to walk around going, "Oh, you made your choices. You made your choices." Sorry, Larry. I mean, disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. And each time they got busted, they would go, "Well, he'll pull out of it. I mean, he's got plenty of time." This is the kind of shit. This is how lightly they considered what they were doing to me. And I said, "Look, stop. Oh, but you're going to hell now, all of you." I mean, the problem for some of the people, like they're not going to help me, but they don't, they don't necessarily participate in it fully, but they've done it to other people. Well, when they look at me, once upon a time they knew I was this person. Like, I had power metaphysically, and things would change around the planet. The difference is God's not having me change and do that stuff for you anymore. Well, you burned your bridges all of it. So they knew, like spiritually, I was real. So if I say they're going to hell, it worries them. Like if a preacher says they're going to hell, they don't care. They really don't. So there's people in the world that if I say they're going to hell, it worries them. Right. Well, because they know I'm real. The part of the bullshit is that I'm not. Right. There's a lot of people out there freaking out. Thanks, Larry. No, they knew I was real, man. They're just, they're devils and they do their devil thing. But yet it doesn't mean that they're not in church. Again, when I say they're devils, there's plenty of devils in church. Correct, Larry. I'm the last person that anybody should think is grooming somebody. Because what they'll do is because they know I'm nice to people, they say that's grooming. But yet I said, I've never used being nice to somebody for anything like sex or anything really. I mean, what have I gotten from other people really? I was lucky to even get a decent conversation from anyone. Right. So you see, they take somebody's personality and then they shift it into something else. So somebody that's grooming somebody isn't grooming somebody. But I'm being nice to people, that means I'm grooming somebody. If I'm building an ark, that means I'm going to try to use it to have sex with people. I mean, they're nuts when they're the ones having sex. I'm really sorry, Larry. Trying to lose weight here. Well, I took one of the anti-inflammatory stuff, which does include just the natural variety of aspirin, and it didn't bother my stomach at all. So I just got to keep going. Hopefully I'll be well, or at least get the. I don't know where I went. I didn't even take any anti-inflammatory because when they told me I couldn't take aspirin, And I took some, like, whatchamacallit doesn't work for me, I don't think. What's that? Motrin, Advil. Thank you, Lauren. So this doctor in Texas kind of hinted that I should slow down on the aspirin. They said maybe 85, but don't be taking a couple of 325 a day. Right. Yeah. So I've never taken aspirin since then. And this is the first. Don't break in here and do something to mess up my stomach. Because I'll destroy you. I'll destroy you. That's one of their scams, that they'll mess your stomach up and then you move away from your supplement. Thank you, Larry. Well, the tightness, sometimes the tightness happens because you don't take something like an aspirin. I mean, I couldn't even get to it. Right. Because if you minimize the inflammation with the aspirin, then sometimes it releases. Right. Now, they got in the middle of my life and screwed it completely up and spent a lot of money to do it. It cost a lot of money to do what they did in my life. And then, of course, the online presence. Right. Every time I'm trying to type somebody, they're type something, they're throwing in typos. Well, I mean, Big Balls is just a kid, man, with some computer knowledge. Right. So I'm not here to worry about how his feelings or what's going on in his life. They already selected him. He's going to make money in life, regardless of what I say. Right. But we need to get the Trump administration back to reality. Well, because people in the know are like, these people are ignorant idiots. Right. Why would we alpaca farm in Peru, Bolivia, and what's the other place? Colombia, I guess. I guess they don't alpaca. We also have the Shining Path rebels, which are contrary to Ecuador's eradication of criminal enterprises, right? So again, there's again a lot of geopolitical reasons. Thank you, Larry. Well, the key is to limit the territory of the narcos as much as we can, and then it's easier to maintain a. Just like the narcos don't want to work in El Salvador now, so we don't have to worry about doing so much work in El Salvador. Right. So if we can recreate El Salvador in whatever way in another nation, I guess we're trying that in Ecuador, and I haven't looked at it in a while. Right. It's a little softer, I guess, but it's still the same theory. Right. Thanks, Larry. No, it's obvious that my cranial tissues have been jacked up for at least 5 years. That's probably what caused tightening of the cranial tissues. And then it messed up everything beneath it because it was pulling the spine different ways. Why it never released with that steroid treatment, I have no idea. But I guess the salt baths kind of kept it at bay, and then moving into them blocking where I was moving into screwed it up, right? Because I don't have a bathtub in here. I still haven't taken another bath recently. It's just very difficult to get into the other bath thing. If I had a bathtub, I'd been in there probably almost every night, right? Like I had in Oklahoma, and that's what I think I started healing a little bit. I wasn't even getting massages. I was just taking salt baths religiously, and it healed me enough that I was able to move comfortably. And I felt pretty powerful that night. I pulled into Kansas City to live. I guess I pulled on, what's that road? It's actually Olathe. It's where I was storing my stuff first when I first came into the city. That was begins with an M. I forget the name of the road. What's over there? I guess 150. Not maybe 159th, I think, and the highway there, 35. Right. It's public storage or something. But I was pretty well that night compared to where I've been. Right. So, right, it was middle of winter, no allergens, nice and cold. Right. and I've been taking a bunch of salt baths. And even, I figured out that I couldn't use the spigot in the tub because they explained to me that even when you turn it all the way to hot, there's still cold water coming in through that. And we were getting our water from a central source. Hot water was coming from a central boiler or central boilers. So it was great for me because I didn't have to pay extra money. But one of the problems was it wasn't hot enough. Again, it was cold outside and travel down that pipe and get pretty cold because it was still using cold water with it. So what I did is I would fill the bathtub from the sink. I have a hose come off the sink, and then that would work. And then I take a hot salt bath, and that helped me heal a little bit. Again, they were heavily operating, so like I said, when I went to move, I started my vehicle, left it unlocked, which a lot of people do. Again, it's a fenced-in parking area. So they opened my driver's door, turned the turn signal on, and then put a silhouette of Donald Trump next to my taillight. And again, they tried to act like they were Democrats or something. And I tried to investigate who they were, but it was inconclusive. But again, it was illegal, of course. Well, it's an attempt to make somebody paranoid. Oh, you got to keep your camera on your vehicle. Right. Hey, you go to prison, man. So that's what they say. They want me to rule them to prison. I'm not ruling them to prison. I'm ruling them to hell. God can send them to prison in hell if he wants. Again, I don't rule them to hell. God does. I just say that's where they got to go. Right? Because that's where they're going. I mean, the scripture is very sure about what you're all doing and who you all are. As far as somebody just sinning, again, one of the things they do to trans people is they go, well, it says if they're effeminate. Well, when you bring that up, God and the angels will investigate you. Because I've already assessed years ago that Christians are using the Bible like a spell book. So if they don't like you, they will, whatever is the worst thing you can be in the Bible, they'll will you to it. That's where the effeminate people come from. From crazy Christians that curse other people to it. I'm telling you, that's where it comes from. But if you look at that list, don't use that list too much. Because I guarantee, you're on the abomination list. What does that mean? Was it mean that you're on abomination list? You're a because effeminate are supposed to be whoremongers, effeminate. The Bible lists a bunch of people. But if there's always this thing in there, like the people that cause strife. The scriptures always talk about something that everybody generally is. Oh. So everybody causes strife. Well, that's an abomination. Causing strife is an abomination. Causing strife, the Lord hates it. So let's not draw attention to it. That list. See, the Lord got you. God got you. So God's not stupid. But there's an equation playing out on this planet, and it took a long time to run its course. Right. I mean, just look online at the you can look at the conservative Christians and conservatives. What are they actually doing? Right. Running people into the ground. And what are they saying? Again, if they're willing it, and a lot of them are, that personality. So they're willing people that are Democrats to be gay. And then they go, oh, look at all the Democrats are gay. Well, stop willing it, and they won't be. But they're not. See, if you think being gay is a sin, and of course it is. Again, I try to get that to reality. Liberal churches will not tell the truth. It's okay to be gay for several reasons, and God will judge it. But you're not supposed to be gay. But again, they're not supposed to be causing strife. And if I rebuke you for being gay, I'm causing strife. So you see, Christians don't understand how it all works. And again, a lot of them are devils. Right. Well, you're not even supposed to be in this body. Right. We're supposed to have eternal bodies. Right. So what's happening is, in the world we live in, there's been a lot of adulteration of what was supposed to be. And again, there's a lot of scripture to change the focus into something else. Again, a lot of what Jesus was saying is in the Old Testament as far as telling, and there's accompanying books and things that are not just the Old Testament, right? Well, they're supposed to be helping people that are down track. So you're supposed to focus on charity. Correct. It's not very treatable. Again, you'll hear Baptists go, "Well, I'm being treatable, telling them they're not supposed to be gay, otherwise they go to hell." But they're being angry at that. It's causing strife. People are beating them down, and causing strife. That's an abomination to the Lord. So again, just be careful. But I'm going to tell you, there's just to. I'm actually setting the majority of the planet free, also, like Jesus did, and he did with what he said. You just don't know what he said, all of you. Right? If Jesus says to the Sadducees and Pharisees, "You shouldn't have told me you see," and of course, it's not physical sight. Obviously, we know they see physically. He's again speaking about in the conversations, and I've brought this up several times over the years. In the conversations you speak with people, some people are speaking about seeing, a spiritual seeing. Again, the LDS are big on trying to speak about those things. The guy's wife yesterday said insight, because I was saying some things and I wasn't using the word insight. But people in society, they generally use the term insight, and she wanted to highlight that. She's a nice person, and she teaches the teen girls, I think it is. Right. She mentors them and things. Right. And she's speaking about how the power of God, essentially the power of the priesthood, how it works. And she says, and again, it's a classic model of Jesus, and I've spoken about this a million times. And who knows, she may even hear me in her head. I don't. Over the years. Well, essentially, God indwells Jesus, and Jesus will indwell us. So it's a patch, because essentially we should be able to connect to God, right? But we can't. So we connect to Jesus, and then through that we connect to God. Now, she even went further with the power of the priesthood, because essentially what she described, not maybe intending to, was that she's essentially there with the power of the priesthood and, again, the Holy Spirit to indwell those young people. Because she says, I watch them, and their 13-year-old brain is not going to say what they say. Right? And I've seen that before, and I've spoken on that before. Correct. So again, it actually takes it to the next level. What she's actually speaking about is, that Jesus indwelling her and her essentially connecting to and somewhat indwelling. Again, she sees it as the power of the priesthood, not as herself. But again, it's still the same kind of concept. Right. That guy's got a great wife. No wonder he's always happy. Got a nice house, great wife, been in church all his life. I don't remember his name. What was that guy? Thank you, Larry. But again, everything I said about what I needed, it was true. I'd had a healthy, wonderful. He said his ear ringing just started. So I said, look, massages, cranial tissue massages. So you see, isn't he a lucky guy? Isn't he a lucky guy? Right. Because I just told him the secret to not having the thing happen like it happened to me. See? Like my brother. I tell my brother stuff and he gets to take advantage of it. Like my brother gets a little hearing loss in one ear and they give him a hearing aid. So he knows to monitor his hearing and all these other things. Actually, he didn't actually do it, but I would have. Right? Once you give me a hearing aid, I'm going to monitor my hearing. But because they're cursing me and all that, I never get anywhere. But yeah, I know you're cursing people down, all of you. Right. Now, Donald Trump's probably guilty of that. So that could send him to hell, but I just don't know if he's had the ability not to do that. I brought up John Gotti's son. I said we need to give him a break. He's never had can you imagine growing up with John Gotti as your father? let's see if we can get him on the right side of the law. And they did, and I think he is. I'm just not sure. Right. Thank you, Larry. Well, just people in government, they just just hate like John Gotti's son or John Gotti or the whole family, right? And then they attack them their whole life and don't give them a chance. Thank you, Larry. I guess John Gotti owes me. He was just standing there in the spirit. Right. Thank you, Larry. Well, when I woke up, I found out that the terrorism, some of it was our people hating on them and willing it up. I was like, oh my God. because I was asleep. Everybody knew I was asleep, I guess, or most people did. Didn't know anything. And they say yet they let Shelton and Quick and Henry destroy my life. I mean, you're just fulfilling hit contracts all the time. I mean, that's criminal. Uh, so tomorrow I'm supposed to get one of my real hearing aids. I mean, it isn't the most advanced model, but it's much more advanced than this one. Right. And it's programmed by a professional. I wish I could have got the VA the other day. It would have been better for my time schedule. I'm not going to keep the other one. I can't find a device to program it. It did work on my Android before. I think somebody hacked it. I really do. So now that I got the AC adapter that works with the Ring camera, my battery's probably too far gone for it to work. It's really wearing down. It it's only a trickle charge, so it has to recharge every night. Right. I don't think it's doing that. I'm already down to 86%. I was like 96% a couple days ago, and I really don't have it as high as I did before. Maybe because I'm going in and out a lot, but I still might need another battery. No. So I just got another hour or so walking. Like, mm, mm. Yeah, it even says Grok even says it requires long-term investment to get rid of the coca farming. Right? No, I don't see too much pushback. Let me go to the Drudge Report. See if they attack me with anything, Elon, over there. Shit. All right, let's see here. Oh, he didn't share that, did he? Oh, darn. Does anybody control him on the line? He shared an AI photo of him being the Pope. I just don't think that's he. Like other people who share it, he shouldn't. Right? Right? Rubio's wanting something. Oh, okay, he's trying. Some people are trying to get me up. Actually, okay, yeah, I knew that part. They're trying to get some of the programs back on. Right. There's a drop in maritime traffic. So, like I was saying, like what you're seeing now is not what's going to be in a few months. And the only positive part of it that I see is that federal payrolls will be decreased once that you know where out date is. I don't know what date that they're leaving the government. The people that are working for free now, and then but you got to remember they're going to work for unemployment for free for a while after that. So I don't know what 6 months to a year. I guess I don't know how many where it is. I haven't been on unemployment for years. Thank you, Larry. Well, I'm just not sure what that's going to do. The unemployment is state run, but isn't it federally subsidized? I can't remember. Is unemployment insurance federally subsidized? Yes, somebody is a joint state federal program, partially funded through taxes on employees. The federal government provides funding for administrators who contributes to extended benefits during the is. Do we have any extensions going federal? Well, let me see if we do. Is the federal government currently running any unemployment insurance extension programs? Thank you, Larry. No. Okay. So it's only going to be. We don't put too much into that, but it's going to wear down on that unemployment funding, right? How are the states situated? All right, the states need to start looking at how their unemployment insurance is. How is that doing? Thank you, Larry. Okay, we need to. So, is there like a mayor's association or something? Actually, I'll put it to the White House. Will the White House pass that on? Hopefully. Thank you, Larry. They'll do it. We'll pass it. That's somebody else, but saying they're going to contact them. Okay, so the White House needs to. Where's the White House? Thank you, Larry. Well, they need to assess the conditions of their unemployment funds and project usage. Oh, they're so weird. Why did you put that there? So stupid. It's propaganda. I'm trying to post something that's valuable. Put the MS-13 Abrego thing. We're gonna put this. Like who's I'm gonna put it on Stupid Chung's page, maybe. His name's Stupid Chung. But I'm a millionaire, Ma. All right, so you all need to prepare for future unemployment. Right. We need to contact the states and have them assess their readiness for an increase in unemployment. There is a wear out date for the federal employees that took the advantage of the early out program or something like that. It's called the exit program, the Graceful Exit program. Exit. There are also other projected unemployment scenarios. Right. The president needs to appoint a team of people responsible for monitoring and providing suggestions in maintaining and improving the unemployment insurance funds and the programs. The maintaining, improving the unemployment insurance programs. Stupid Chung and Jack Daniels Vance. He looks like Jack Daniels Vance. It's, here's all the Democrats. How can you afford? Because you're the one that's going to be unemployed, Democrat. Like Democrat minds, like, what are you helping him for? Well, you're the one that's going to be unemployed, Democrat. Right. That's how crazy it is. I'll help everyone, and they'll get mad because they don't like the person I'm helping. Right. Right. Shit. Hey, big balls, didn't you figure this one out? And big balls don't know nothing about that. He's W.S. Martin, comms director. J.D. Vance. You know, actually, most people don't consider Catholics Christians there, J.D. Vance. Most Baptists do not consider Catholics Christians. Stupid Chung. You're all stupid. You're not doing the right thing. I agree. Somebody curses you. You're all stupid. You can't even see what I'm saying if you did see it. Right. First, you should employment. We need to contact the states and have them assess their readiness for the increase in unemployment. There's a wear out date for the federal employees that took advantage of the exact program. There are also other projected unemployment scenarios, such that needs to appoint a team of people responsible for monitoring and providing suggestions, maintaining and improving. I'd have been the greatest chief of staff, wouldn't I? I'd have been the greatest White House chief of staff in the world. Thank you, Larry. No, they're not supposed to be in my life. Oh, jeez. Thank you, Larry. Thank you for everything you're doing. So, where else could I put that? I usually put that a couple places. Hopefully, Elon lets it be seen, unless it's some like dirty cops that are blocking it. All right, well, who else do I help? Right, who else? Okay, saying over here. Let me see if that's true. So now I get to assess whether this thing is real. It's a spiritual thing. Tell me where to post it. Oh my gosh. Don't be blocking me from the guy that needs me to pray for his kid, because he doesn't seem to be responding to my text for a few days. I mean, it just could be him, but because I want to post it to the online bulletin boards, but I need his permission. I can't just post it. Right. Thank you, Larry. That's there. He lied. No, I'm not going to put it under the Abrego MS-13 thing. Thank you, Larry. I find it to be clownish. See, now you're being revealed as nodders. Ugh. Knotters put knots in people's lives. They knot everything. Like, I'm going to go, like, oh, I got a job and I'm going to work for so and so. Not! So it's like a curse, right? Yeah, president's blind, it says, but, it's his problem. You got to wake up or you're going to crash over you. But we all have better lives than you, Larry. Stupid Chung. Thanks, Larry. They said on Facebook that it wasn't there, and I'm like, I was suspect already. I thought it was a false voice. Right. So, who else does unemployment? Does labor? Let me see if labor's part of it. Does the U.S. Department of Labor have anything to do with unemployment insurance? Yes. Okay, yeah, that's who it is. Okay, so it's Department of Labor. So that's who we get. I guess. Let me see who it is, or whoever they. It doesn't have to be them. Sometimes something like that, you don't want it to be the boss of, let's say labor or the labor department. You want to maybe put some new people in, so you give them a boost by giving them additional people. I've spoken on that before. How you boost something by putting additional people in. Right. So Department of Labor. So essentially, it can be a Department of Labor task force, but you can pull 2 or 3 new people in, right, to run it, if you have anybody. Thank you, Lynch. Thank you, friend. The president should create a task force and bring in additional people to work under the Secretary of Labor. Thank you, Lynch. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Larry. This one's a little better. I'm going to put this on Stupid Chung's page. Wait a minute. Where'd my stuff go? All right, so who's running? Well, they have to be within the Labor Department. That way they can have access, easy access. Right. So, was it? I was going to move to Sacramento. That'd be good. It's good to grow up in Sacramento, I bet. Right. Probably an easy place to grow up. Okay. I'm trying to find his profile on X again because I got lost somehow. Stephen Chung Winix. That's how he talks. Stephen Chung Winix. That's how he sounds. 22 March. Wait. No, it actually wasn't a Stephen Chung post. It was somebody just put his name there because he's not posting. I guess he posts on the White House page or something. I guess he puts stupid White House posts on. And nobody wants to put anything underneath. We got more people posting than you. I have to put it on. Yes, Department. Oh, the U.S. Department of Labor. Oh, okay, reposted it. Right, there it is. So there it is. Right. Stupid Chung. Okay, so the president should create a task force. Thank you, Larry. No, 2-2. Yeah, they're spitting on it already. Whoa. They're spitting on it. I don't know what's going on there. The president should create a task force and bring in additional people to just go 2. Thank you, Larry. Thanks, Larry. That's too loud. Thank you, Larry. Thank you for everything. But we want new people to give it, some new blood, some new energy. All right. It doesn't have to be a lot. I mean, you can use insiders, but you could, I think 3 is probably a good number. Bring in 3 people, boss and 2 underlings. All right. Or maybe a board. I don't know how you want to do it. Again, it's coming across like somebody who's a business person. I don't know who it is. Right. Well, there's going to be a question again. They have to start the work now. There's going to be a question as to whether you should supplement at some point. See, again, these are the ins and outs and the catch-22s of this stuff. And I've been trying to tell you that since before you took office. Right. Thank you, Larry. So you're going to have to again. See, you're not going to be able to save money initially, but again, under your watch, you may not reap any of the benefits of cutting the budget. And actually, if they cut the wrong thing, like I said, it'll be more expensive in the long run. Right. Thank you, Larry. So labor is situation. Oh yeah, who's in labor? Let me take a look here. If I see the person at all. Secretary of Labor. Oh, it's that lady. Right. Yeah, that should be a good person for it. Yeah, but she didn't. Again, you can't. She could handle it, but she shouldn't. Right. She should just they provide reports to her, briefing, and she could be there with the briefings, but she needs a team of people. I don't know, something. They're trained to use, because Witkoff is hated right now. They want me to use Witkoff's name like Witkoff. All right. Thank you. No, she's got so much. She got too much. See, that's the one thing, that I didn't even know when I was in the government, because I didn't know about power and how it worked. She's got so much on her plate right now. And then, of course, there's going to be a lot of anger at what the labor situation in the future. Right. Right. So, and again, she's doing the jobs report and all that. Right. Well, we're in an interim spot where labor's not going to see too much right now. That we labor's receiving some information from other departments or indications. Like, I don't know if they're receiving it, but there's like the slowdown in maritime traffic. There's some other stuff I can't remember right now, but so labor should know that there's going to be an increase in unemployment insurance use. I don't know what the funds look like. It's been pretty good, the employment situation. Like I'm saying, the unemployment figures look good, but it's just bullshit. In fact, we have a bunch of people working for free on the federal in the federal government. They're not actually working; they're just getting free money. Right? Correct. So I don't know what that number is. So that's actually kind of like unemployment, and they're not actually working, and they won't be. Well, they could be working. Again, the idea is, are they going to milk it for everything it's worth and go into that early out program or out program, whatever they call it, and then go to unemployment insurance, or are they using this time period to go work a job somewhere, like in the private sector? Again, a lot of those people are senior members of several agencies, and they might be able to walk into a contractor position in a second. And that's the thing, to be careful, because they did this before. They all of a sudden hired all these contractors. Like, they say, "Oh, we're going to cut the budget," but then they hired a bunch of contractors, right? And then Elon got another 5 contracts. See, again, I'm suspicious. Thank you, Larry. I don't trust contractors. Never did, and I think the move to contractors was part of the downfall of the governments and the increase in the deep state. It brought the deep state into the government, like the deep state bosses could get it into the government through contracting, right? Excellent. Because they actually were taking care of certain employees, and there was a illicit relationship. Right. Thanks, Larry. So it doesn't mean. I mean, nobody knows where the unemployment's going to go or how high it's going to go. But again, this is probably a good time, because we do know people will be leaving the government. So we do know that's going to exist. So right now, they're actually on unemployment to a certain degree. They're still in the government. They're not being carried as unemployed, but they're essentially on a type of unemployment insurance program where they're getting money and not working. Well, again, find who you need to find. I don't know who it is. They just said somebody like Witkoff. I don't know exactly what that means. And again, there's other people. You have the other business leaders like Basant and other people. And what's that guy's name? I'm gonna have to look it up. Oracle CEO, billionaire, Ellison. Right. It's one of my favorite people to speak about. I think he killed Luna. Tried to kill me, but right. So you want? I don't know if Ellison probably won't do it, but and I don't know if his experiences. Right. So who would? Maybe she knows. The Secretary of Labor might know people to bring in. You want people who like, she has a bent for that type of thing. Like, she has a personality for it. Right. No, you can't. We want. Okay, yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I don't think people are going to be like big balls and all them. Most people, right? We want more. We want it to work seamlessly. We don't want an us and them scenario, right? So it's kind of like a presidential commission on unemployment insurance and unemployment programs, right? Again, it may not rise to the level where it really necessitates something like that, or maybe it will. So that's why we create it, right? We create it now. So who in the world are experts on labor and unemployment? Key figures, Christopher, Eric Gross. That's not American. Let me see. Harvard, she's 70. So I know she could be a liberal. You might not even like her. The thing's actually saying somebody named Erica L. Groshen. Former Commissioner of Labor Statistics and head of the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. Do we have somebody there now? Actually, no. We don't want to use somebody who's in a position. Right. We want to pull some additional power in. Oh, he was actually he worked. She worked under Trump. Well, she's 70 now. I don't know if she's going to want to work. Right. Maybe you want to call her. She may have had somebody secret working for her. Like there may have been secrets to her success, and it could be two or three different people. Right. And again, they might be in the labor department. I don't know. So again, it's saying she used to work for Trump for I don't know how many years. Actually, for only a year. So he got rid of her. She's a liberal. But again, when it comes to, I think the lady that's in, what's her name? She might be a little liberal. Right. The lady that's doing labor now is a little liberal. I think. If I'm not mistaken. I'm surprised he put her in, but I could be wrong. Lori Chavez. Well, with a name like Chavez, you have to be a little liberal. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe she knows somebody, but it's saying that Erica woman. They bring her in and ask her something. I guess. Right. You want somebody who's going. Again, you don't want somebody that's going to run a program uh, with animosity. Like you don't want Elon running an unemployment insurance program. You don't want big balls telling you what to do. Right. Have him go. Have him go. Yeah, he'll recommend that they go alpaca farming in Peru, and then we don't pay for it. But give us money. Don't give them money. Give us money for telling you to not give them money. That was my brother's job. My brother was a CFO. That's probably why he's such a jerk sometimes for a major corporation. He's actually one of their secrets, right? Unisys. Right? But he wasn't in. It's like he like used to hate the deep state, but somehow they took care of him, and he became a multimillionaire, and he loves the deep state now. He doesn't love the deep state, but he's more amenable to it, right? Correct. It's probably because of me. That's probably the only reason he got in. No, because he used to not golf and stuff, and he couldn't get past a certain point in his business. Like he's CFO, so it was a big deal, but he couldn't get to the big executives that went golfing together and spend all that money and cause 2008. Couldn't get with those people. Oh my God. Thank you, Larry. Now my brother kind of used me for some years to take care of my mother, and I didn't know he was willing. Nothing in Naples for me. All right. Then when I did get out of Naples, I just ended up in the same similar community. I ended up around rich people because they want me to bless their kids, but then they don't let me live. They're like insane, right? I'm actually near rich people again, but they just don't let me live, right? Thank you, Larry. No, your kids, some of your kids, doctors and stuff, I did that. Your kids are so successful because I healed them. You weren't healing them. You all can't. You're all haters. Correct, Larry. We're so sorry, Larry. Make sure. But that's why they're different than you. You ever notice that your kids are different? Because Larry's in their head. Like my brother's son Ethan, he can't figure out how he grew up like that. Because my brother's a conservative. His mother's even more conservative. Snooty. Right. Well, his son's like, I mean, he's left of me. But again, I don't, if I'm in somebody's head, I don't force them to be a cookie cutter of me, but they tend to care about people. Right. Thank you, Larry. Oh no, he's a thinker, right? Tried to whack his head for a while, but I think he's coming out of it. Now he's really smart. He's already working like pre. I think he's doing pre med, but he's like working summer internships and stuff, or is trying to at least. He's working in the old emergency room. I was there for a while, not too long, but right. Oh my god. Nah, it's weird. I mean, everybody should have an opportunity to be in an emergency room. What the state trooper has to tell the family that somebody's dead. It's like it's like part of my friends the shittiest place to ever be. I don't pity state troopers for that, or even any police officer. Right? That's like the worst thing to have to do. Right? It degrades into screaming and tears and. Thanks, Lee. So we had this trauma thing. It was a trauma center, and we had this trauma event. And I don't. I think I was somewhere doing something when it came in, so I didn't get to see the bloody bodies or anything like that. But like like when I think they stabilized whoever it was or group of people it was. I can't remember what it was. So this woman, we had this one like emergency room doctor, and she was like I guess 6.5 feet, and she was like kind of a wide woman, kind of looked like Julia Childs in the face. And she comes out the door, from those rooms, and it's just kind of the doorway into the emergency room general area. And she's dragging like a body board and it's got like a bloody, bloody sheet and a bloody body board. She's dragging it out the, like, she's in the trenches, dragging it out that door. And then she just looks at me like in shock. Yeah, she probably retired with PTSD. Right. 100%. Well, it's one of those things. Like once you do it, like if you have a passion for it, it's killing you, but you can't leave it. Right? 100%, Larry. Well, because if I don't do it, who's going to do it? Some people get into that mindset. I mean, I had that mindset on a lot of different things in life, and I probably should have moved away from it. Right? Like the Marshal Service, I should have left long before that. I should have either moved offices or left. I mean, I didn't know anything in life. That's how they got me, and they kept me asleep. I mean, they're sickos, right? Thank you, Larry. No, he believes in helping people. He believes that they're disenfranchised and it's unfair. Right? Again, Trump even believed that 20 years ago. Now you got to get out of that MAGA mentality. You got to appeal to the masses at this point. Right? 100%. Because let's say even you say you actually had a successful 100 days. If you explain it in MAGA terms, over half the country probably tunes you out. Right? See? Right. Thank you, Larry. Thank you. God bless you, Larry. again, if you go to the kind of the, I guess you call it a photo op or whatever. When he was in Puerto Rico, I thought it was in Texas. It was Puerto Rico, where he throws the paper towels like a football. That's what they're looking for. That's what the people were looking for, and what they're looking for. Not to who cares about your $18. You'll just have $2. I mean, they don't want to hear that. They want the guy that goes, visits after the hurricane or whatever, and throws the paper towels like a football to people at the shelter, or at the food bank, whatever it is. Right. Thanks, Larry. In fact, I mean, he had a personality change. He needs to stop that. He needs to get back to the other stuff. You got to keep him away from aloof Stephen Miller. Calling Reagan judges communists. I mean, get out of here. Got a point there. Well, the rich people are actually part of something very similar to the Communist Party, believe it or not. Right? That are part of the thing, Right. Oh, we're supposed to still deny that the thing exists? Thank you. Well, you just prepare for it. I don't know what the scenario is. That's why I said you hire these people. I mean, theoretically, there's going to be something, and again, to assess it, and maybe they'll say it's fine. I don't know. Right. Well, that's what I was trying to tell you. Again, most of the time, somebody has 8 years in office, or perceives they have 8 years old, and about year one, they start that, like doing cuts and all that, and then they phase it in. Again, you're not the first people to do it. You're just the first people to do it the way you're doing it. Some would say it's foolish. Well, because a lot of states, if you call me a DI hire, it's probably discrimination. Correct. Well, calling people DI hires just because women are black, you don't know what the capabilities are. Or maybe Latino, or gay, or something. Thank you, Henry. I mean, they can sue you for that, especially if you're sitting on some board cutting their jobs, right? So again, you have not seen the end of the last of those statements. I mean, got to tell you the truth, all of you. If I don't tell you the truth, you live in your fantasy world with Stephen Miller. That Reagan judges are actually communist judges. God. Actually, no, because you know why a Reagan judge does that? Because Reagan judges are libertarians. Right. Thanks, Larry. Because Reagan was a libertarian. See, that was the difference between Reagan and the other Republicans that preceded him. Reagan was a libertarian, where the other Republicans, weren't quite as libertarian. Wait a minute. Where's my? I don't know where. Actually, it's probably due to the other way. Right. Yeah, sure. Curse my refrigerator, also. Probably when they broke into the room. Thank you, Larry. You have to remember that Reagan wasn't simply a conservative; he was a libertarian. Right. So he would, due process is part of what he'd be interested in. Right. Well, again, if you can lawfully, and Reagan is here in spirit, if you can lawfully, go through the process, fine. But if you can't, then not fine. And then you have to fix it so you go through the process. Right. And of course, we didn't always go through the process. But if they did it right, no one would ever have known Oliver North. No, Oliver North actually put President Reagan out there. Right? He allowed some stuff he shouldn't have. Right. It's good on paper, but it never, if it went public and all that, they never, and all of it's not public, obviously. Right. Okay, all right. Well, it's just people that have stuff in life don't want to speak out. Correct, Larry. And they're getting sick of it. So I speak for them. I don't have anything. So again, the wrong thing to do is to take everything I had. I mean, it's just sick people, man. They're doing their own thing. They're not working for the people. Like they'll report to the bosses something, but it's not real. It's a lie. Right? So they just, the best thing to do is just take care of me and let me live a quiet life somewhere. Again, I was sending things to the government in secrecy. I never would put it online. Right. But I thought that, I was protected. Again, the same thing I thought in government, and I wasn't. So I had to start putting stuff online as what I was actually doing. What happens is they're given power in this world to lie and for it to be seen as the truth. That's why it never fixed. Right. Well, because they were killing me. And they said, no, we're not killing him. And he's got time. And then, of course, another 10 years later, another 50 people made money doing the same thing to me. Right. And then I'm the worse for wear. Thank you, Larry. Now my sinuses got screwed up because my tissues got too tight. So I don't know if it's going to reverse. I still got funky sinuses. So I guess that may have been why every so often my sinuses would get messed up. Hindsight being 2020. Thank you, Larry. Do not put Doge in charge of the unemployment. Do not. My goodness. Well, I don't know if you're going to supplement. Again, the idea in there that can maybe design a program where it won't be necessary or something. Or recommend changes to the future economic plan. Thank you, Larry. Well, that's the point. Like everybody that leaves government, the question is, what are they going to do with it? What was that? Oh, are they going to go into additional employment, or are they just going to do another so many months of unemployment? And the question is, how does that work? You can go back to your state, right? I gotta have to look at that. I'm not sure what the requirements are. I mean, can you get unemployment in any state you want, or because again, it may only affect so many states, or be centered in certain states. Thank you, Mary. No, there's definitely something out there to hate Elon Musk, and that could quite possibly cause that hate of Tesla, like aside just politics. I think there's a foreign thing involved. I think that's the biggest problem is everybody's being manipulated by foreign powers. I think that's really what we've been experiencing over the last so many years. Right and left. They're just better answers, but you can't get to it because they're being psyoped. So I don't know. Somebody asked me what do we do, and I don't know what it's about. But as far as security wise, I just keep testing waters and see if they're radicalizing people and in what direction. You might even be able to see who they're selecting or what group of people they're selecting. Again, that guy was a trans student. Why did they select a trans student if they did, right? And we can pretty much surmise why. Fix the political reason in battle. You may not look for well, it's a trans person. Of course, they're liberal and right, and they're seem to be, and he's anti-trans. But was there something? And again, there is something. But the question is, was it direct or indirect? Well, we need to figure out the unemployment scenario and be ready for whatever it is. Yeah, again, it's kind of lucky for people to kind of uh, obsess over the Tesla itself versus Elon Musk. Right. Well, because if you beat up a Tesla, it's not beating up Elon Musk. So we generally are not seeing people wanting to directly attack Elon Musk yet, or maybe we do. I don't know what's out there in places I can't see. Right. Well, it's almost a good thing that they're focusing on the Tesla, because then that's loss of inanimate object versus a life or a body part. I know Elon Musk, obviously will. I think he'll, bounce back financially. I mean, I think he's been down further before, but Tesla's a question. Well, because that was your market group. If your market group swears off your car, because this is the quandary that Elon's in. Conservatives don't buy electric vehicles, right? So there's nobody really to replace it or replace that group of people. I don't know if it can recover. If it was the only affordable EV, that might work somewhat. But again, conservatives don't buy EVs, and that's what happened. Well, essentially, they would buy the EV if they bought EVs, right? So you never would have missed much money, if any, actually. Correct, Larry. So I mean, I didn't believe the Justice Department should be as heavy-handed as it was. Right? And I told Elon not to say what I said online. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. I mean, I didn't, you don't defend yourself, but don't say anything. Right. Plead the fifth, I said. Don't say anything. Right. But I guess he did, right? He made statements, right? Well, the world's set up a certain way. And there's people with certain experience. You make them, but they don't get where you want to go. Correct. So, well, there's people. It's just like me. I mean, without me, a lot of people. I can take people a lot. I can take the government places that can't go without me. There's nobody else who can take them there. Right. But again, they fuck me off. God says at a stage of the game you can't do it because you don't have enough power to power your life, and therefore you can't even do that. Right. Thank you, Larry. No, there's psyops out there, like professional psyops, to radicalize people against Elon Musk. The question is, how do they work? Are they just general, specific? Are they specific in places that people hate Elon Musk, or are they specific against specific people that are trying to get to hate Elon Musk? Oh my God. Right. So if I get angry online and yell about Elon Musk, do I attract it? Does it see me then? Say, oh, here's somebody. Let's radicalize this person. Right. It could be like an AI scanning the internet to radicalize people against whoever the bosses program it to radicalize them against. Right. Or something like an AI. I don't know how Tesla would bounce back. I really don't. Oh my God. Thanks, Larry. Because simply, who's going to buy the vehicle? I don't think those people will ever come back. They're that mad. Right. Well, because like I said, the problem is conservatives don't buy EVs, or they would have already bought your EV and replaced it. Now they might buy the Cybertruck. You might find a market for Cybertrucks and conservatives. I would build like uh, like the Bronco, but EV. Again, they did it with the Hummer. I'd also build like a con- conventional vehicle, something retro maybe. Like the one thing that who's it Bezos is back in. That thing, if you took that and souped that up a little bit and put 4-wheel drive on it, that'd be a cool looking vehicle, right? And you may be able to keep the price down a little bit still. The Slate, right? It begs to have a 4-wheel drive lifted chassis. Although again, in one it does look like the pickup looks almost like a lowered, why they call it a slammed pickup, right? But when you get to that SUV, it looks like the old Bronco, the real Bronco. Right. I think I'm waiting for an Amazon order that I have no idea when it's going to deliver. Right. And then I'm actually waiting on a part from the Sinus Gator company, Nelly Med. Uh, they their the reservoir is just. I'm going to talk to them. I said I'm going to tell them like you should sell that. Find a price point that works where you won't piss the person off because they sent it for me free. But I said, I'm the type of person that I know that that's going to break again probably. So what I would do is I would have another two or three of those just sitting in my apartment, so I could when it breaks I just throw it back in and use it. Right. Like I said, I asked for his part. The one was missing, and I think I'm just not sure. It seems like I was set up, like somebody did it on purpose, right? Thinking it's funny, right? So I said I got to get this part. Do you have that part? Right. I'd even pay for it if I needed to. And they sent, it looks like they're sending me a whole new one, right? But it's not making sense to me because they gave me an Amazon delivery number, and you know they don't know anything about it. It doesn't make any sense to them, right? And they said that, um, thanks, Larry. They said both sides said they have no idea on the delivery, and like the delivery window is like a day for that particular item when Amazon delivers it. And I still haven't received it, so that's kind of strange. Let me look. Stay peaceful. Praise God and all that you do. Praise God.